Tell you what, wish I had a dead cat so I could swing it around. Look at all the room I got now. Woohoo! G'day all, welcome back to Built by Chris. This is the second part of my router table split fence system build. I'm just going to get on with the rest of this build, so if you want to have a look and see how it's done, follow me. So here's the main body of the split fence router system, and as you can see, once I loosen off these, which are beautifully recessed so you can't see them now, it works fine, and the other one will open up again, so that's where the router bit sits in there. Then I just do it up. Here we go. Now the next part of this build is going to be the top fence system. So if I'm routing, say, a long piece like this, maybe it's a draw side and I'm doing a lock miter on it or something like that, and I need the support, because at the moment, as you can see, it's flappy as all hell. If I put a fence up here that supports it, I can run that cut through without it tilting, and I get a nice clean cut on there. So the next part is to build this system and then fit off. I've got to cut this pipe down a little bit. That's in there nice and tight now. That's beautiful. Cut off this pipe a little bit and get it ready for my dust extractor. So let's get on with it. All right, what I've done, made a slight adjustment to these two fences here. I've cut them down a little bit shorter because I've realised that I didn't need them to be that high. I've cut these two pieces, one which will sit on top here that will slot into these T-slots. So I've got to drill a couple of holes to accommodate those bolts. And I've cut the main fence here, which will sit on top here, like so. Which will give me plenty more room to support any stock that I'm pushing through on edge. And the other thing I'm going to do with this top fence, and a bloody helicopter going overhead, thank you very much. The other thing I'm going to do is cut some triangles as supports behind here to stop this from flapping around in the breeze as well. So again, the less I talk, the more I get done. So let's get on with it. Okay, so the first part of this operation is to mark out where these holes are going to be drilled. So I've just put it down, and I'm putting a line where I want that hole to go. There we go. And over to the drill press we go. There we go, a couple of holes drilled, 8mm holes for the bolts. Righto, let's see if it fits. Well, it's certainly not going anywhere. All right, now the next piece. This is going to fit on here, like so. I need to lift it just a little, just a tad, so that doesn't foul these fences, the split fence. So I'm going to use some playing cards to lift it just a little bit, then I'll mark it, drill it, and you know the drill. So let me get some playing cards and set that up. Okay, so here are my playing cards. They're my VB playing cards. Being an Aussie, what else would I use? VB playing cards. All right, so I think I might use three on each side. I think that'll raise it just high enough. There's definitely a gap there, so 3 will be enough. So just going to get a couple of clamps so I can clamp it all together. Just going to flush it up here. There we go. Playing cards are in. And there's the gap. All right, let's drill some holes. Now the first thing I'm going to do is measure down until I hit the centre of that piece that's got the T-track on it. And then I'm going to mark a line going across the front so I know where to put these screws. Like so. So I know to put this is the depth that I have to there we go. Let's drill a couple of holes. Don't you hate it when it doesn't go in straight? Okay. Okay, that's done. Let's take these playing cards out. Okay. So there it is sitting on there. Look at that, doesn't foul it at all. So there's just enough gap in there. Oh, beautiful. Look at that, perfect. Now this can come off and I can use it as that, and if I need the extra support, there we go. Beautiful. Now to cut those triangles. Okay, there we have the 4 triangles, the 4 support pieces. So I'm just going to mark them off and screw them down. Okay, now I know you can't see them because it's black, but I've got lines marked where I want these pieces to go. And I went and just trimmed them up a little bit just to make them a little bit neater, like that. Now, there's a little bit of rock in this thing, so I wondered whether it was this that was out of square or whether these were out of square. So I got my, my engineer's square, and it is dead 90 degrees, so these are perfect. So as soon as I screw them into here, it's going to pull this into line. It's only out by, not by much, it's only out by a little bit. But as soon as I put those on, it's going to pull it all into square. So what I've done, marked it all out, got these ready. Now I'm going to drill some holes and start going for it. Okay, let's see how it works. Now it's nice and flush there. But the big test was to see if it pulled it into square. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Lovely. Okay. So now I guess the last bit to do is to cut this piece off. And I'm going to run a dado through these two screws here, all the way through, so I can put a piece of T-track in there so that I can clamp feather boards to it. So hopefully, let me get a piece of T-track. Plenty of room, plenty of room. Okay, so I'll do this, cut the T-track, and I reckon that'll be just about done. Alright, here's my dust extraction system pipe. It's going to fit onto the end of here. Not in that position, obviously. And I've got to get this to fit in here. So to do that, I've got my heat gun out. I've turned it on. And I'm going to slowly heat up this so that I can then press fit it in there. It usually doesn't take very long to get it to a soft. There you go, it's already starting to be soft. There we go. There we go. That's in. Now all I'm going to do is just let it cool down. When it cools down, I can probably get a better fit than that. There we go. So now when it cools down, it'll actually shrink around that and give me a nice tight seal. There we go, that's how that's done. So here's my next setup. Dado stack is in, set to the height of the T-track, set to the thickness of the T-track, set to the depth or the distance that I want to cut on this fence. Now I've marked it out. So it's going to be more or less. Probably come over another millimetre. Let's do it just another millimetre, just show you how accurate this thing can be. So go over 1 millimetre. Much better. All right, everything's set to go. There we go. Right through the middle of those screws. Missed all them, which is a bonus. And that fits in there beautifully, and it's just below, which is perfect. That's what I wanted. It's just below that surface. So now all I got to do is just pre-drill some holes into this and mount it into here. I've gone ahead and cut the piece of T-track for it. Drilled out all the holes. That's where she's going to go. It's nice and flush there, and it's sitting below the surface. And all I just got to do is pre-drill all these holes, drive in some screws, and I think we're nearly done. There it is. A couple of screws sticking out here. I'll just trim them off with the angle grinder, so I'll never even know they're there. And there it is. All right, let's put it all together and see if it works. All right, here's my first test run of it. I've got a Roman OG bit stuck in there, just a board, and I'm going to run it through and see how it goes. Well, I must say, I've got to be pretty happy with that. Very, very happy with that. A little bit of dust came out, but not as much that is used to come out when I had no fence at all. But there it is. I'm going to give that a thumbs up. I think that worked fine. Well, there it is, folks. The end of part 2 and the finish of this build in particular. It came out a hell of a lot better than what I expected it would. It's got a few minor problems with it that I'll adjust as I go with it. But other than that, it does everything and more than I expected it to. I've got to make some feather boards for it now so I can keep the stock pressed down to the table. Again, the first time I've ever tried something on such a scale, and it's turned out really, really well. If you liked what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. If you think there could have been something I could have done a little bit better or a little bit differently, please let me know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.